on the 16th of September, and we do that again in February as well. I did communicate, I've got Ms. Dawson back over here with REA. Did work a little bit with Mr. Maxey. Had some great feedback from the staff. I asked for 2 representatives. Asked the principals to bring me 2 representatives from each school. Then to take back concerns, communicate with me, email with me, and that's what's led to the calendar that I've got before you today with the 10 additional student days to help us kind of with our recover our learning loss. So I stand for any questions on the calendar. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Luck, is this going to be adopted as a 3-year calendar or just yearly?
Well, right now, this particular calendar is just going to take the place of the one that's already online for 22-23. It's interesting, and I apologize, but I just want to make sure we hit this. There are some other options that are out there with some flexibility that the state is looking at. After visiting with my team, the consensus was we know how to do ELTP. We know that we add our 10 days. We know that we will meet our 80 hours of professional development, and we know that that money is secure. And now I can hand this calendar to Mr. Cole, and he can build the budget, and I don't have to worry about them running out of money. There's a couple. There's one called K-12 Plus, and then K-12 Plus Planning, and they are very appealing. But my fear when we started discussing it was everybody's going to run that direction, and I would not be able to have solid funding to stand on and come before you guys here in April with a calendar. A little concerning to me. So I would say taking the safe route here a little bit, but guaranteed funding in place already. And like I said, I'm really excited that we get the big chunks of time back, and that we didn't have to give up a ton. I know Miss Dawson and I talked, at length that one afternoon about the importance of the day there in January, and then your 2 weeks there at Christmas, and your Thanksgiving week as well.
Mr. Luck, I do appreciate the time and the effort that you and your team have put in on this. I've been watching what districts have been doing across the state, and some of them are dramatic changes for families, for staff. I appreciate I've heard from parents, they want their kiddos in school. They want to make sure their kids are recouping some of that, and also being mindful of our teachers and giving them time for professional development. I think the only question I have is on those 3 days in August, are any of those going to be for teachers planning time, working in the classroom without PD?
So one of the things that we did talk about is the return to kind of the good old days, where we're going to take Monday, Tuesday. We'll have our district welcome back. Not real sure what that's going to look like as far as our Monday goes. Monday afternoon, they can report back to their buildings, and/or we can actually do department meetings, our coaches, SPED, our nurses, where we have Tuesday with the buildings, where their principals get an opportunity to do what they need to do. And I'll be blunt, I really want that Wednesday on the 3rd to be, let them go work in their rooms. We have taken that away, and that's sorely missed. I mean, it's sad when you say, well, you should have to go up 2 weeks in advance. And my mother was an elementary school teacher, and I understand that some of that just goes with it. But, our intent right now is that on that Wednesday, the 3rd, is that they get their opportunity that's a hands-off day from us and from the principals, and that they get their chance to get their bearings up and they get ready to go for that Thursday start date.
Awesome, thank you. Board, any other questions? Okay. With that, may I get a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved.
May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. A motion made by Mr. Edwards and a second made by Mr. Cheney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion carried. Next, we have FY23 Part-Time Certified Employee Benefits Resolution Bilingual Renewal Applications.
Yes, ma'am. My apologies. Madam President, members of the board. Okay. This is FY23 part-time?
Yes.
Okay, my apologies, ma'am. Madam President, members of the board, I recommend approval of the FY23 part-time certified employee benefits resolution.
Alrighty. Mr. Cole, it's my understanding that this is something we do on an annual basis. So would you like to quickly give an overview of this and why we're doing it?
Absolutely, Board President Morales, Mr. Locke, members of the board. So, as you said, we bring this back annually. We've been doing this for over 10 years for our part-time employees that would qualify. New Mexico Public Schools Insurance Authority, otherwise known as NIPSIA, you may hear it called, regulations require that districts with employees that work less than 20 hours but 15 hours or more have a resolution in place annually for part-time employee benefits. We currently have 2 employees on the staff that fall into this qualification. They do have benefits, and they have had benefits in previous years.
Or do we have any questions on this item? Okay, may I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. May I get a second? Thank you. I have a motion made by Ms. Sanchez and a second made by Mr. French. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion carried. Now we have bilingual renewal applications.
Madam President, members of the board, I recommend approval of the bilingual renewal applications. And I do have Mr. Bewley here tonight to talk a little bit about that.
And I'm also going to say I'm hoping for the best for Andrea. You have to walk her up there in Reynosa. They have a really bad fire going on up there. She was giving us a picture right outside the middle school. I mean, just literally right outside the door. They took a picture. So I will stand for questions and stand in her place, for lack of a better. So just to go over the one pager that I've got, rather than go through each application one at a time, because it's very, very similar. Nancy Lopez has a kinder pullout. They have a first grade classroom teacher who's bilingual certified. You have a 5th grade classroom teacher who's bilingual certified, and then they have a pullout for grades 2 to 4. So they actually go K through 5 using the teachers that they have. Sunset has, we focus on the primary grades if we can. Kinder 1st and 2nd, they have a classroom teacher. The non-ELs receive enrichment Spanish during that hour. They're looking for a bilingual teacher to be advertised for grades 3 through 5. Now, why a bilingual teacher? In that the teacher could do the ELD half, and they could also do the Spanish half, and we could go K to 5 for those kiddos. PECOS is rich in its bilingual classrooms. We lost one in grade 3. We're looking to see if we can get this teacher endorsed during the Summer Institute, where they go off for 2 weeks and they do nothing but study and talk in Spanish for 2 weeks to get ready for the exam, and then they take the exam at on the Saturday at the very end of the program. All the people that we've sent there before actually came out certified bilingual. It's 100%, as far as I know, passing. It's not an easy test, but they do nothing but talk about strategies in Spanish. So I think it really helps them out quite a bit. Missouri Avenue is our newest school. Not too high. There you go. So they have a kinder classroom teacher, and they have a pullout for grades 1, 2 for bilingual, but grades 3 through 5 is just doing the ELD program, the support for the English for the students. And we are looking for, is EGP on this one? We are looking for a ESL teacher at EGP, because they're having a larger population, and we want to make sure that the students are served for English language development. It won't be a bilingual, because we won't have enough teachers to do a bilingual program at EGP. But we have the bilingual programs at the Southside middle schools, Mesa, Mountain View, and Sierra. And Mr. Valentin is from Sierra. She's done very well over there. And we want those kiddos from these schools to feed right into those middle schools and carry it right on up through the high schools. So you could go on a little bit more, sir, a little higher. Okay, so Goddard High School actually has quite a bit of teachers over there that are bilingual certified and TESOL certified. So they're working on their application. They're looking to continue the bilingual strand all the way up to AP Spanish classes. And Roswell High, it's their ELD teacher they've got Spanish teachers, but they need an ELD teacher, and I think they're actively looking for someone, because we do want that to continue K to 12 if we can. Not the whole school, but a bilingual strand within the school. And so our applications are ready to submit to the state. Goddard's will have to be brought to us next month, but we need the approval of the board to push these on up to the state. And if you have any questions, I'm here to stand for those.
So Goddard's will be ready for the May board meeting?
May.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And as far as the Roswell High, we will not know if it becomes
Well,
bilingual
we're
school?
right into the recruiting season,
Okay.
and you know, we're actively searching for bilingual, and it's not like we turn them away. So if we find a bilingual teacher, an ESL teacher that is certified within our grade level, we'll find a spot for them. So that could change then.
Okay, thank you.
We've told every one of our recruiters that go to the job fairs that's one of our priorities, and that's hand them that letter, you know, shake their hand, make sure that they've got a decent resume, and offer them the letter of intent.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Alrighty. May I get a motion to approve?
So, oh,
Okay. May I get a second?
did he do a motion?
I have a motion made by Mr. French.
Okay, second?
Thank you. And a second by Ms. Sanchez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion carried. Next, we have G-0861 GBEBB-RA Regulation, Staff Conduct with Students Maintaining Professional Boundaries, first reading.
Board President Morales, Superintendent Luck, members of the board, we've got policy G0861.
Mr. Yo, can you speak more in the mic? I'm sorry.
Yes, no, is that better?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have board policy G0861. This is a regulation. Apparently, this one was pushed out by the policy services back in 2018 when the board first adopted the policy services for their board policy. And somewhere in the change, that was missed. And so what we're doing now is we're bringing it before you for a first reading. It's something that is already with the other districts, but it hasn't officially been adopted by the Roswell schools. The next regulation that we'll be going over, I'll be able to expand a little bit more on why we have that last A and why it is highlighted. We will have two regulations, and this is the first, again, originally presented in 2018 that we're bringing before the board. And bottom line, this one is talking about, if you will look at the wording there, about maintaining professional boundaries. And so it's a really important policy. As you know, House Bill 128 was pushed out this past summer, and this really just goes along with the expectations of conduct with staff.
Thank you. Board, any questions on this one? I have just two quick questions, Mr. Hill. On page 2, under inappropriate behaviors, it states, the staff member must immediately report it to the appropriate administrator. So my question is, who is the appropriate administrator? And could we actually define that with the title?
So everyone has their own administrator, so it depends on what school site they're at.
Would that be principal, though, or?
Yes, so they each have an evaluator, and then they have their main administrator. And then, of course, always they can come straight to HR or to the superintendent.
So would like an assistant principal be okay, or, so any administrator serves as an appropriate administrator?
And each staff member is assigned an evaluator, so an administrator would be their evaluator, but they can either go to their supervisor, who is their evaluator, or to the principal,
Okay.
as well as coming up to
Awesome.
to our level.
And for staff, does that include our part-time employees and contract employees?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, thank you. Okay, next we have G-0861 GBEBB-RB Regulation, Staff Conduct with Students, Employee Use of District Technology Resources and Electronic Communications, first reading.
Okay.
Alrighty, Mr. Yo.
If you will notice this one, the only difference with the title is that we have, again, a highlighted area, a B. So the policy we just talked about is Regulation A. This one will fall under the same number, but it is B. This regulation was passed by the school board as a district regulation, and it took the place of G0861, which is what happened when we didn't adopt the other one. And so now we had a conflict where a policy was pushed out by the School Board Association, the Policy Services, but we have an existing one that is a district one. So by passing these two action items, then what we are doing is we are, in essence, keeping the one that is a district policy, and this is the one that has the B at the very end, staff conduct with students, Roswell Independent School District, the employee use of district technology resources and electronic communications as the B portion of the regulation, whereas the staff conduct will now bring us in line with the policy services as the A regulation. So no changes, it is merely just renumbering so that we are in line with policy services and have the uniformity.
Thank you. Any questions, board? Alrighty, next we have I-6711 IKA-R regulation grading assessment systems first reading.
This one was a joint effort on behalf of our high schools, and we do have a couple of administrators here with us. Do you guys want to join us up here at the front real quick? So we have Ms. Hall and Mr. Cottrell. As you guys know, they did an awesome job at presenting information to us before on some changes. We've got two policies that we bring before y'all right now. This first one is grading and assessment systems. And so if you will look at this regulation, it has brought up to date the language as far as how, am I looking at the right one?
Page 344?
Yes.
Yep.
6711, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. For a minute there, I thought it was the second one. So it's bringing up to date what the report cards have in them, the language, the grading. Ms. Cole was also an essential part of the team. Mr. Bewley was part of that. And we did have Ms. Sanchez and Mr. French. So it was a concerted effort. We also had Laura Lucero Carrillo. Am I missing anybody? I believe that was it.
No, I think that was it.
Okay. And so, again, we looked at all of the report cards. We were able to bring all of the language up to date. So you can see the language here that was in existence. This is not a new policy, but it is revised. You can see the red strike-through of any language that was changed that isn't up to date and current. And then it does take into account the letter grading system, the numeric representation, when we have the X not evaluated up to the 4 in the lower grades. And so you can just go through all the, seeing the letter conversions. We did add in the information on the report cards and transcripts, dual credit, and we added in the AP. So you can see the changes there. The red strike through again is omissions, and the yellow highlight is the new language.
Ms. Cole is with us.
I did say Ms. Cole. And the team is here if you guys have any questions. And you guys, if you want to add anything, feel free to.
It's a first reading.
Mr. Luck, do you want to point out?
No, I do, and this is something that is on the first page of that. The policy change presented will go into effect for the graduating class of 2024, which would be school year 2021-22 sophomores.
And I know I'd asked you a question on that, Mr. Hio, and it's because this is the class that these changes don't yet impact. So it would be starting clean with this group.
Correct.
And I have one more question, Mr. Hio. The last bullet under the high school section, that last bullet states, grades must be based on demonstration of competency of content standards. It won't be based on attendance or conduct or disciplinary problems. I would like us to add this to the elementary and middle school sections as well for those academic subjects.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we looked at the changes in the report cards, and those, like the conduct used to be on there, but it had been removed. So what we did is we made sure that we got samples of all of the report cards. Ms. Cole was able to get those from Ms. Morgan. And so we tried to make sure that the language would correlate to what was on the report cards. We did acknowledge that there needs to be some work done in those earlier report cards to bring the language up to date, reflecting the standards and the expectations, but that is a conversation for another day.
Okay. But just again, because we get calls from parents asking about or sharing those specific examples, I think it'd be good to have in policy so we can refer them directly to it, or as updates are made, it'll align with our policy. So maybe for that second reading, any thoughts on that, board, to add that? Or-
Well, and for that, we did discuss about how important it is to have the teacher input, and so we're looking at probably a more extensive process, and that will take some more planning.
With this policy or with the
No,
report cards?
With the report cards, what you're talking about with the lower grades and adding the
Yeah.
conduct and all that, those are conversations that we felt were not best approached at this time because of the committee and the exploration and the research that will need to go into that.
And if I may add, Ms. Morales, I understand what you're saying, because our grades should be based on what students are actually learning, the master of those content standards. They should not be compliance-driven, so based on students' attendance, or on their behavior in
Right.
class, or whether they sit quietly, or whether they bring Kleenex
Right.
for extra credits. So I absolutely think that it would be great to add that statement to the end of the elementary.
And that's why I said
session.
academic subjects, so it would give, what you're saying, citizenship, maybe it's a grade in citizenship or something else, but I still think it's important to be placed in the policy. We have it at the high school level as well at the elementary and middle school level. That was my only question. Thank you both for being here.
One more.
Alrighty, next we have policy I-4700, student schedules and course loads, first reading. Mr. Hill?
This one was also undertaken by the same committee, and you can see the changes there. One of the big changes was that we added the language about the next step plan. We also put in the resource for the template, the guidance and instructions, and we are giving the interactive, the URL link so that parents can update that or teachers can access it directly from policy, and it will take you right to the next step plan guidance. We did also add the verbiage in there about the virtual learning courses, because this is something that has come into play most recently.
So I think on this one, my only request is we add a step either requiring a parent signature or that we're sending a copy of the next step plan to families. I appreciate that the website is there, but I want some type of assurance that parents are actually seeing this. So if we can take a look at that.
And we actually did talk about something very similar to that today, that's a crucial step that we've got to ensure happens.
Thank you. And board, since all of these were first readings, that's why we did not take any type of a vote, but next month we will. Alrighty. So, Mr. Luck, before we go to reports, let's go back to the consent agenda,
Yes, ma'am.
if you don't mind. And then we will be on our reports.
All right.
So, for the consent agenda, Mr. Luck,
Madam President, members of the board, I recommend approval of the consent agenda to include approval of March bills, authorize April bills, and approve April bars.
okay, do we have any discussion on these, board? May I get a motion to approve?
So move.
May I get a second?
Second.
I got the motion by Mr. Edwards, and I'll take that second by Ms. Sanchez. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion carried. Alrighty, Mr. Luck, we will move on to reports.
All right, Madam President, members of the board, my goodness, lots of business going on. But to be real honest, that is a reflection of our district right now. There is a lot taking place. When you say get back to normal, I think we're working on it. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're just about approaching it as to the level that we can. So want to say thank you guys. Going to roll through some of my updates here pretty quick. First and foremost, on the top of my list right here tonight is an update on the strategic plan and the work that we're working on, or that I'm doing with Jim Shipley and Associates for our district strategic plan. Again, looking to facilitate the development of an aligned, for right now, a one-page document. I know, our hope right now after that is for it to go into something more. But right now, I want to get something that I can put everybody around, that we all know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and where we're going, with some strategic planning work with Ms. Cole, Mr. Hio, as far as like quick hits, quick goals, quick wins, things that I can report to the board, things that I can report to the media. Hey, in the next 30 days, this is what we're looking to do, and then be able to come back. And, maybe we did them, maybe we didn't do them, but so that there is at least a plan in place that everybody knows, instead of just, a core group of people that are in the know. Again, the process is going to interview district leadership, key principals at each level. We're going to get teacher input. School board chair gets an opportunity to work with the team to help align our goals. Parent leaders, business and community representatives. One of the things that we've tried really hard, and I know Mr. Bolaños is back there, but we heard from our community, we don't mind giving up our time to help you, but we want to see results. And don't bring us back for things if you're not going to actually do what you said you're going to do. This first go around with this is going to be fairly small. Probably we'll utilize the group with Mr. Espiritu, with Ms. Cole, to grab our business input from that. And then look for areas of improvement. Obviously, our graduation rate. I'll just tell you that one right now. And that was already on the radar, and it just continues to be there right now. Our learning environment, our classroom discipline, different things like that, and then just our overall culture that we've got here in our district. But I'm planning to bring a draft proposal back to the board. Again, we would hopefully be talking about a board retreat in May. I'm asking for maybe a date after the 15th so that I can bring that for your approval so that we can move forward and actually get that. I think the timing is really well with that as far as our summer. Gives my team an opportunity to really get around it. And as we push forward with our new school year, that it's a centralized message that echoes from central office out into the buildings. And again, something that's quick and easy that we can all get around. Just real quick, had some updates. Our music department have participated in many competitions. Just wanted to highlight real quick. The choirs competed in March 9th and 10th, and the bands on April 6th and 7th, which the Roswell High Choirs, Advanced Treble, Superior in Concert, Superior in Sight Reading. They were sweepstakes winners. The Advanced Mixed Choir from Roswell High, Superior in Concert, Excellent in Sight Reading. Mountain View Middle School Choir, Excellent in Concert, Good in Sight Reading. Sierra Middle School Choir, Superior in Concert, Excellent in Sight Reading. Goddard Band, Superior in Concert, Superior in Sight Reading for sweepstakes. Found out after visiting with Ms. Fuss that 2-1s make you a sweepstake winner. So awesome work for Goddard and Roswell High. Same thing, sweepstakes winners, Superior in Concert. The Berendo Band, Excellent in Concert, Superior in Sight Reading. Mountain View Middle School Band, Good in Concert and in Sight Reading. Just, again, great work. Back to normal. A group of kids that are getting to do what they like to do and having fun with their friends. And it's really neat to see that again. Just got back from Spring Budget Workshop. Thank you to everybody that attended that. Very informative. Boy, there's a lot that goes on up there. And really excited the vibe in the districts around the state and the collaboration with the superintendents and the business leaders and just, again, another chance to network with everybody involved up there. So really do appreciate that. We have been working with a committee. So, just to kind of give you a heads up, if you're hearing different things about, well, I heard this, or there was a meeting at Roswell High, or, what was that presentation that was presented? When we do the census, every 10 years, we've got a group that comes through and they walk us through long-term goals. So that's something that I will probably address with you as we go forward. But I didn't want you hearing, well, what was that about? Or how come that came up? It's just the work that we're doing, and it's work that boards were doing 10 years ago tonight, that they were looking ahead and trying to plan down the road for things that might come up in our district. Just for your calendar purposes, and Miss Julie will be sending this out later with some more detailed instructions. May 26, 27, 28. 'Tis the season to graduate. That almost rhymes.
That's on here.
That should be on a shirt somewhere. Pilar, don't take you can't steal it, Pilar. Okay. But 7 o'clock, Wilbo Stadium for the three of those, 26, 27, 28. I'm still working to get early colleges schedule as to when they're going to have their ceremony. But I thought I would at least get that to you so that you could have that for your planning purposes. With that, I know Ms. Cole might visit a little bit about kindergarten Roundup So I got to experience my first go-round with that in numbers and like hourly updates on how many had been there and how many hadn't, and what do you mean? It's been a very interesting learning experience for me coming from where I was at, but I do appreciate the work that our teachers had put into it and our parents, because regardless what the numbers show, I think the message is clear. Our parents are ready to get back. They're ready for school to get back to like what it used to be, and we are too. So with that, I'm going to move on to Ms. Cole I'm going to skip Mr. Cole. We'll come back to him in a second. But Ms. Cole, if you want to talk kindergarten roundup real quick.
Yes, sir. Do you want me to go through the rest of my
Sure,
information
absolutely,
as well? Okay.
absolutely.
So kindergarten roundup, we rolled over more students from pre-K this year than we did last year. But we didn't enroll as many new students into kindergarten, so our numbers are actually down just a little bit. I do think that they'll probably increase. We did advertise widely. It was in the newspaper. We did radio. We did social media. We did all of the things. But we did talk about post kindergarten roundup day. We talked a little bit about maybe revisioning what kindergarten roundup looks like, knowing that we have so many students coming in from pre-K, so maybe it becomes more of an orientation day for those pre-K students, and then we bring the new students along. So overall, I think it was a really good turnout, and we'll send you the exact numbers through email, so you'll have those. Then pre-K registration takes place on Friday, April 29th. You should have those in the notes that I passed out. So that will be at all of our neighborhood elementary schools. And Parkview, and it will also be available online beginning April 29th. We are looking at expanding pre-K to Del Norte. That's still in the talks right now, nothing definite, but we have space and we have needs, so that expansion we're hoping will happen. Then we had another re-enrollment fair, and we advertised that widely too, and for a while. That was on March 31st, I believe. And we sent out 300 postcards in English and Spanish. Again, website, social media, radio stations. We had 2 students re-enroll. So we'll continue our efforts to get kiddos back in school. Mr. Bolaños and I had the opportunity, and some other district folks, to attend ENMUR had a presentation on the pathways that they're building, and so we are really looking forward to that continued collaboration with our community college. Some very exciting things happening there. And wanted to mention that right before COVID hit, we were interrupted with our secondary math textbook adoption. So we adopted for elementary, but we did not finish that secondary math adoption, so we are going to start that process again. Mr. Bolaños has been working very hard on that. We have our first meeting tomorrow afternoon. But we would like to have those materials in teachers' hands next year when school starts.
So our goal is by August, Ms. Cole?
That is our goal, in that it's going to be very difficult, but it is our goal to have the materials in by August. Okay. This is also grant writing application season, so Ms. Leonard and Kristen are busy working on our grants, and we're looking at expanding our community school initiative. That application is due to be released this Thursday. I want to thank Mr. Luck for the opportunity to send my team and some of our members to the spring budget workshop. So I learned about some new funding, some potential funding for our district. It's a really big deal that will help with social emotional learning and behavioral support. So we're really looking forward to leveraging that to expand access to those behavioral health supports, as we know that we have lots of intense behaviors increasing at the schools. So that was a good learning opportunity
Ms.
for
Cole?
me as far as funding.
What schools are we looking to expand the community in schools to? Do we have priority schools?
Yes, we do, University High School and the South End, so in collaboration hopefully with Sunset.
So that would be our goal for next year, and then every year maybe an extra
Yes,
school.
we did receive a planning grant for University High, again, right before COVID, and so this would be an implementation grant for university. So typically you apply for the planning for 1 year, and then you receive that, you do the planning, and then you work on implementation. So last month, in March, we had a CTE survey out to the community, And we'll be meeting with the company that helped us with that and reviewing those results and sending those to you also, hopefully by the May board meeting.
Okay, so no implementation grant, we're gonna submit for the elementary level, not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, unless we're able to include sunset in that. So we'll learn more when the application is released on Thursday. Okay. There was one other, big deal. So, our nurses do their vision and their dental screenings, every year for our pre-K, kinder, first, third, fifth, sixth, and eighth graders. And as we struggle with insurance in our community and also with providers. So we had a company, Adventure Dental, Vision, and Orthodontics from Albuquerque, reach out to us and ask if they could come down and help with exams for underserved students. So they came down today, and Dr. Monica Alderete saw 36 students from across the district at the Del Norte campus. Of those 36 students examined, and those were all referrals by our school nurses, of the 36, 33 were prescribed glasses. Tomorrow, the dental exams will happen. So we're very thankful to have that, and I will forward this information to you all as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask Mrs. Cole a question? Mrs. Cole, on the dental exams, is CASA involved at all in any of this?
La Casa.
La Casa.
La Casa does have a dental van, but they're not helping us with this. I think that they are short-staffed right now, so hence the kind of the lack of providers who are able to do it in our area. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Light.
Okay. Mr. Cole, financial updates, year-to-date expenditure report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Locke. Board President Board President Morales, members of the board, excuse me. Just real quickly, I should have pointed out when we were talking about food service status and where we're at with that, what we call the Seamless Summer Food Program is up on the website for the summer program, the dates and the times and all that stuff for our parents if they want to see that. So that's on the website. Again, I want to thank Mr. Locke and the school board in particular for approving our calendar. That's a big milestone every year. As you know, employee contracts are set around that calendar, and as you know, about 85 to 90% of our budget goes to employee salaries and benefits costs. So that's a huge piece to building the budget, and pretty successful in building that calendar this year very quickly. So thank you again to Mr. Locke for that. We should have our SEG formula by next week in the 910B5 from PED. We'll start our school budget meetings this Thursday and continue those through the month of April. We have received our due date from the PED. It's June 2nd. Ms. Morales?
No, I forgot to send you those names, Mr. Cole, for the parent group.
That's okay. I was going to call you back. I've got a couple more.
Awesome.
But just, so thank you to everybody that provided parent names to solicit. That's part of the statutory requirements for building a budget. And it helps me tremendously. As you know, I'm not in the schools. I've had, known parents over the years, of course, was a parent for many years. But it helps me tremendously to have those contacts, and look forward to having a large group. We'll also invite the newspaper, of course, our unions, both of our union leadership to those meetings. And you have here before you tonight the year-to-date revenue and expenditure report. Not a lot to report there. We tack on every month as we go through these board meetings, so if there's any specific questions on that, I'll tell you, I feel a lot more comfortable with our payroll position than I did last month. We have submitted a recommendation as of yesterday. We had a group of very strong candidates, and I would thank Ms. Linda Purcella for spending her Saturday with me down here at the office interviewing after we came back from the spring budget workshop. It was a full day, but it was really good. We met some really sharp people, a very strong group. and would hope to see them in the future.
All right, Ms. Trujillo, Human Resource Updates.
Sure. So in Human Resources, we've been actively working with all of the campuses and the departments for projections for school year 2022, 2023. Along those lines, we are looking at any reassignments that need to be done by departments and then by location to make sure that we are in compliance, first of all, with like New Mexico pre-K, SPED requirements, the teacher-student ratio. So we'll be looking at doing that in collaboration with our union. We also will be putting out our re-election list for each of the campuses and the departments, and that will drive our re-employment letters that we will send out across every department. And so those will be, again, in planning for next year. The re-employment letters then serve as the contract until the new contracts go out. So we're actively working on that.
Ms.
We're
Trujillo?
also- I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
On
that's okay.
projections, are we keeping an eye on all the construction taking place, like by Military Heights and the timing of the apartments and off of North Union,
Watching
and
it.
space is gonna be limited? So are we keeping an eye on that for next year, or not quite, or?
We have, even though we don't have any definitive, and I think you've got some more
Yeah,
information,
can I
right?
go? So again, the planning committee that we're a part of, that started within our district, that works with Mr. Sanchez with our construction and everything, the projections, that's one of the big things that we work with, is the projections out of that. So I do look forward to bringing that to you guys down the road. So yes, to answer your question, yeah, we're watching it.
We're also making good progress on having the district gain what is called H-1B cap status, and that will enable us to sponsor some of our J-1 teachers once their country allows them to apply for H-1B status. We are currently sponsoring 2. They are test cases. It looks like we have gotten most of the employee part done for the first one, and we're waiting on some financials for our portion. But it's looking really good. I have an amazing immigration lawyer that is working with us on that. We're also right in the middle of recruiting season, so we're about halfway through that. We do have some upcoming recruiting events. And then we're also still on the waiting list for one of our best fairs that traditionally we are able to get some great candidates on. So we're hoping that a position will open up for us there. But other than that, I think everywhere we go, all of us are actively recruiting. I know Mr. Luck was recruiting at one of the ball games the other day, and I mean, all of us have stories to tell of someone that we've met that is a possibility. So, and I encourage you guys to do the same. We also are looking at the residency program. We brought some information to you guys last time. New Mexico Highlands, I believe, has contacted us about participating. And then our new one, which was our hope, because we have the majority of the graduates that we deal with, is Eastern. They were submitting their application this week, at the end of this week, and we are going to partner with them on that. What the residency program will do is it will elongate the student teaching process to a year, but it allows our student teachers to be paid. We had already started by working with our universities and allowing our student teachers, whenever possible, if they were not employed by the district, to go ahead and get employed as a substitute. Again, just recognizing the need to support our prospective teachers. And so the residency program we're really excited about. Eastern had not been able to apply for that, and so we will be participating with them on that. Really excited to do that. As far as the calendars go, now that you have approved the calendar for next year, Human Resources will go ahead and get the employee calendars for next year. We will circulate those to all of the departments. We really appreciate all the eyes on them to make sure that we are aligning all the days correctly and to the best, to the service of the district. So that will be going out now shortly. As you know, we had the PED that waived the fees for the renewals for licenses. We don't have an exact number. I know I myself was able to renew 2 of my
About
licenses.
10,000 statewide.
So it was in the
I
thousands
saw-
for the state.
I saw the state ones, but we're not able
For
to get
us,
just
yeah.
ours. I would love to see how many, but we had, we were inundated with people that were ready to renew. And so during that time, the dossier submission and the OPAL submissions were also free. So we had probably about 14 people that were able to take advantage of that. We also have 3 that hurried up and got theirs. Missed the window, but they're pending right now. So again, just really exciting things happening there. We processed 18 unemployment claims this past month. We have 11 up-to-date staff members that have announced their retirement and have completed their paperwork. We have a few others that are just in the process, exploring, getting information so they can make an informed decision. We had 31 new hires that we processed this month, and 10 resignations. We have 53 long-term subs currently for this month. So I stand for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I just making,
I'll save it for our retreat.
okay.
trying to think
I was
of
just
something
making
here.
sure you had that look. So I was like, okay. So, Mr. Bewley, research assessment and accountability updates, please.
President Morales, Mr. Luck, thank you very much, members of the board. So we're right in the middle of the testing season. April is our time. I want to emphasize to the community and to the board members that it's not every day, all day testing. So there's 2 sessions of math for grades 3 through 8 and 2 sessions of ELA. And other than that, they're right back into the classroom and right back to regular teaching. So it's a minimal interruption. This is going to be a field test year for the writing, which has been added in. And I have been encouraging our teachers to apply for the range finding committees and the item analysis committees. I know we have one from Monterey that was in there, and one from Berendo, I believe, a science teacher that was in there last year. So I'm hoping to have good representation in there. They extended the windows again, as they extend all the windows this year. So we're hoping to get some representation in there. And of course, the big one for the high schools, at all the high schools, is the SAT test. Without an essay, SAT test school day. Tomorrow, 7:45, breakfast for everyone at every single high school. And so we've got it on Facebook, we've got it on emails, we've got it on robocalls, Canvas emails, posters in the hallway. So there's just no one who hasn't heard about it, at least I hope. And so we're hoping for really good attendance on that tomorrow. And I think all of our schools are ready. I want to really mention Rosalba Mendoza at Roswell High, and Angel Munson at Goddard, and Corey out at Early College, and Mr. Miramontes, Mr. Fuller at University. They've worked really hard to get this all ready. Questions on that?
Our middle school kiddo attested to what you said. She said testing was short, sweet, to the point, not a whole lot of interruption to the day, so great job.
Yes, and since it's online, there's not a lot of movement around, no checking our papers and turning them back in, and they're very used to the system now. So I'm just anxious to see our results. But as I said, the IMASA, the one that we take in May, that's where we'll be able to really make our educational decisions on that one.
Thank you. Alrighty, now we have board communication, informational updates and acknowledgments. Does anybody have anything?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Just recently, Roswell High had a powerlifting contest that they went up to a state competition, which it's considered a club sports now. Yep. And they had four kids, 2 placed first, 2 placed third, and 2 placed well, that was it. And they finished 4th overall. And this is the first year that they've had an actual powerlifting team. And I'd like to commend the people that participated, which were the coaches, which was Coach Payne from Roswell High and Albert Hernandez, who's been doing it with a lot of the freshmen. Well, he started off with 8th grade kids at Mountain View, his grandkids. And so he's taken on a task of, if any kid wants to power lift, to teach them how to train them with powerlifting. And they do a lot of their lifts over at Power Block. He does it from 4:30 to 6:30 or something like that. But I wanted to give those guys their just due, because we always hear about all of the teams that are established, but this was a team that hasn't been established, and they placed 4th out of, I believe it was 15 teams. And like I said, kudos to Coach Payne and Albert Hernandez for taking this task on, and they're always looking to pick up kids, no matter whether they're from Roswell or Goddard High School, to do powerlifting. And so I'd like to give those guys, you know, their little shout out and commend them on their placing fourth out of 15 teams.
Are they charged at Alton? Do they charge them for?
They give them a pretty good discount over there right now. And if you saw the uniforms, I can bring one of the uniforms to the next meeting. They have some nice shirts that were designed by JT12, and I'm not trying to advertise for anybody, but they also got a set of sweats, and they look real sharp. I've got pictures of if you want to see it.
Do they have a weight training class at the high schools?
But powerlifting and weight,
It's different.
it's totally two different things.
Did I see a female in there?
Yes, and she placed fourth,
Yes, she did.
and she hasn't been lifting all that long.
Anything else, board? I have just one item. We do need to get a board retreat scheduled for May. I just want to make sure that we can have all 5 of us there, and we need to at least commit to a 4-hour session, possibly 5. I do want to know, I don't know if there's a specific day of the week that works best for everybody so that we can try to work it out like that, or whether it's morning or afternoon. So the first week we would kind of look at this would be May 16th through the 20th. And ideally, we would pick out 2 different days. I do want the board attorney to be down at least for one of the topics, so we would need to give him a couple of options. But I don't know, is there a specific day based on your work schedule that works best, or morning, afternoon, so that we can keep that in mind?
Did you say 5 hours of training?
4 to 5.
4 to 5.
I like Fridays.
Fridays, morning or afternoon, does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay, so Ms. Julie, I'll get with you, and then we can send the board a couple of those Fridays in May and get it to Tony. So we'll keep you all updated at the next meeting on that. Alrighty, notice is hereby given that the Board of Education of the Roswell Independent School District will meet in executive session pursuant to NMSA Section 10-15-1H2 regarding the following: superintendent evaluation and contract discussion where no action will be taken. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion to go into executive session pursuant to NMSA Section 10-15-1 regarding the superintendent evaluation and contract discussion where no action will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carried to go to executive session where no action will be taken, and the time is at 8:19 p.m. Alrighty, may I have a motion to end the executive session pursuant to NMSA Section 10-15-1H2 regarding the following superintendent evaluation and contract discussion where no action was taken?
So moved.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion made by Mr. Edwards and a second made by Ms. Sanchez. All of those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. The motion carried to end the executive session where no action was taken at 9:38 p.m. We now return to our regular session. Going over to the possible action items, I would like to take a motion that the RISD board adopt the quarterly evaluation of Superintendent Luck that was outlined in tonight's executive session. May I
So
take a-
moved?
Well, I made the motion. May I get a second?
Second.
Oh, he's second.
We're flying out.
Okay.
So who you writing down?
I don't know.
It would
So
be-
I made a motion. Any-
It would be
Who,
Jack
may I
Cheney.
take a second?
Second.
Thank you. So I made a motion with the second by Mr. French. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion carried. Okay, the board will take up the issue of superintendent contract possibly in May when the board receives all of the data that we need regarding that. So at this time, this is the end of our agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. A motion made by Mr. Edwards, a second made by Ms. Sanchez. Alrighty, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Alrighty, tonight's meeting will end at 9:39 p.m.